Well, the crypto market is kicking this week off with a bang, as many cryptos are up anywhere from 5 to 10%, with some cryptos up as high as over 55% just in the last 24 hours. Now, this does seem to be being led by Ethereum, which is now up officially over 25% just in the last 7 days, bringing, of course, the rest of the altcoin market up with it. And if you go over to CoinMarketCap, I mean, you can see what's happening in the top 10. Things are waking up. You got Salana up 6%. You got Doge up 7%. You got Cardano up 7%. You got Hyperliquid pushing up 4%, XLM pushing up 4%, and you're finally starting to see these altcoins in the top 10, top 15 waking up. But the truth is, the real gains right now are between that top 50 and that top 100. I mean, you got a Whiff, which is now in the 80th spot, up 11%. Pingu now breaking into the top 50, up 23%. Jasmy now in the top 90, breaking up around 17%. And CFX leading the charge today, now officially in the top 100, up currently 54.6%. just in the last 24 hours. So it's been an absolutely fantastic couple weeks here in the altcoin market, but things seem to just be getting better and better as the days go by. And so in today's video, I want to go over everything with you. We're going to talk about what's happening in the market. We're going to talk about what's happening for some of your major altcoins. We're going to go over some wild news that we're seeing here in the altcoin market, some fundamentals, and much more. So if you guys have been enjoying the content, don't forget to smash that like button. And while you are down there, don't forget that if you are actively trading cryptos, whether it be every day, every week, or every month, you can check out the link to BTCC down below. And if you sign up to BTCC and start trading today with my link, they're going to give you a 10% deposit bonus, which could be up to $10,000 for each one of you watching this video right now, and up to 40% lower trading fees. This is one of the best deals on all of YouTube, especially right now while volume is picking up. So enjoy it while it lasts. The link is down below. It's where I do most of my trading, so I think you'll have fun there. So check that link out, and let's go ahead and let's get into it. So as I mentioned before, the altcoin market is absolutely smashing it today. And so what I first and foremost want to do is I want to go over some news that we're getting as a result of this pump and talk about how it's going to impact the crypto market. And after we talk about that, I'll dive a little bit more into some technical analysis on all of our favorites here on the channel. Right, we got ETH, XLM, HBAR, and many more. Well, it's going to be a pretty long video today, okay? So the news that I want to go over today is what we're seeing from more of a social metric perspective. As you all know, I am a firm believer that one of the most undervalued things that people look at here in the world of crypto are social metrics. What are people actually doing? I believe that if you're an altcoin investor, whether you hold ETH or microcaps or whatever it may be, you need to be watching this probably more often than anything else, because the truth is altcoins will only move if retail cares. That is just the truth. Until institutions go all in on alt, or much deeper in on alt at least, we are going to see alt moving majoritively as a result of what we see from retail investors. So you need to watch what they are doing. Simple as, okay? And so what we can see is that we are now finally seeing it wake up. The exact thing that altcoins need to grow is finally starting to happen, and that is an increase in retail interest. Now, there's goods to this, there's bads to this, and I'll break all that down for you. But before then, let me just show you what I mean. So what we're looking at is the past 5 years, okay? And we're over on Google Trends, and all we're looking up is Ethereum right now. How many people are trying to look up Ethereum? And what you can see is that ever since the bull market ended back in 2021, no one really has cared about ETH. I mean, if we talk about where we were in 2021, right, back over here, in May of 2021, if 100 people were looking up ETH, over the last couple years, 15 to 20% of those people are still around. I mean, this thing got cut by, 80, 90%, no one has cared. Whereas over the last week or two, people are now jumping back in. And as you can see, there is an expected increase of over 100% from where we have been to where we are headed now, as we are roughly at the 50% threshold of search, which means that if 100 people were looking up ETH at its all-time high, 50 of those people are now looking it up, which is huge in comparison to the 10, 11, 12 that it has been for the last couple years. Now, watch this. This is interesting, okay? If I head over to crypto, what can you see? Crypto is now starting to break back up towards these highs that we were at, guys, whenever Trump launched a crypto, whenever Bitcoin hit its all-time high. I mean, we're pushing up past those levels right now. People are back, and they are back in a big way. People are excited about it. Now, look, are we back at, again, 2021 levels? No, we're not there yet, which is a good thing, because it means that there is still a ton of opportunity out there, and we could still continue to see this push higher as more and more people come back, opening up the doors for a real quote-unquote altcoin season. But the truth is, this is still fantastic one way or another. And the fact that we're seeing this is a huge sign. Now, one interesting thing that I did notice, I don't know how I feel about this because I don't believe it, but something that I found interesting was that this is just absolutely sin. Google search for altcoins has now officially started to push up to a higher level than it's ever been before. I don't know if I believe this. I kind of feel like this has to be some sort of skewed data because I can't imagine that there is a real way that this is being pushed up this high in comparison to, say, 2021, May of 2021, which was the biggest altcoin season ever. It is hard for me to believe it, but in many capacities, I do believe that we are at least seeing some local highs. Like, we are probably higher than we have been in the last year or two, and we are probably somewhere around that 2021 level. Again, it is just hard for me to believe this. I'm not quite sure about that. But if we continue down the line, I mean, and we start to go to some specific cryptos, you can really just start to see it. XRP, absolutely flying. Is it back to those November, December levels yet? No, it's not, but it is very close. You go look at even a Salana starting to wake up. Not back to those levels yet, but boom. I mean, look at what's happening here, guys. It's starting to wake up, and we're not there yet, but we very well might be by the end of this week. And these are the sorts of things that you need to be watching if you're an altcoin investor, because what this tells us is that people are coming back. Liquidity is coming back. People are willing to take more risks. They're wanting to learn more and more about altcoins and crypto and the news and what's happening in this Web3 world. And that's exactly what we need if we're going to see this liquidity continue to flow from Bitcoin into alts and from alts to other alts. This is what creates a thriving ecosystem. So there's good to it, of course. Now, don't you get me wrong. There are bads to this as well. This is not just there's short-term bads and long-term longs. Short-term bads and long-term longs. Goods. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. In the sense that in the short term, there are threatening things that come from this. What we have noticed historically is that for a real altcoin season, quote unquote altcoin season, to kick off, for there to be a ton of liquidity in the altcoin market, you're going to need retail interest. The problem is that when retail interest finally comes back, the opportunity for upside growth diminishes substantially. So the best time to be buying Ethereum was at $1,000. The best time to be buying Salana was at $100. The best time to be buying XRP was at $1.50. Those sorts of opportunities are now gone. You're not going to see in the top 10, top 15, these massive opportunities of, 50Xs anymore, or whatever it may be, 30Xs, 20Xs. You're not going to see it because by the time that retail comes back, those huge opportunities are gone, but good opportunities are still around, right? And so what happens typically is that whenever I see retail investors start coming back, I do start to get a little bit anxious and nervous about the fact that volatility is going to pick up. We're going to see bigger pullbacks. We're going to see bigger dumps. We're going to see all these things because look, every time retail comes back, it hits a peak and then it just nukes, right? And it's just a normal thing to happen. It's like liquidity gets injected into the altcoin market. Things get good. Things get fun. There's a liquidity everywhere. Businesses are doing very well. Crypto investors are taking profits. They're making money. Leverage traders are raking in gains. The lizard people who lick their eyeballs all day, I mean, they're making a ton of money liquidating people through volatility. So things are good until they're not. And then they start to slow down a little bit. And that new liquidity has time to kind of fester a bit and start to work its way around. And so what I'm saying is that this is a great thing. And this may continue to lead altcoins down a great path. And we might finally start to seeing some life here in the crypto market. But when retail comes back, it is a sign that things are going to get crazy. Volatility is going to pick up. And there's going to be probably big dumps and weird pumps that come out of nowhere. And you just need to be prepared for that. Okay. It's something you just have to be ready for. And so what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to take this kind of information that we have now, knowing that people are back, knowing that people are looking up crypto, that people are finally interested again. And we're going to take a look at some of our favorite cryptos. We're just going to go over what they are doing. And I'll kind of show you how this correlates, right? Because what I want you to remember, in the long term, this is a signal that things could be looking good and we might finally start seeing some life. But as retail investors come back in the short term, manipulation is going to go up, volatility is going to pick up, and things get more risky in the short term. So good for the long term, risky for the short term. Let's take a look at how that transpires and how that then, of course, starts to look for our specific cryptos on their charts themselves. And guys, don't forget, we do have just 3 days left from the time of recording this video until the release of the Crypto Playbook. Remember, this is not a course. This is a free guide, a free manual for all of you who watch my content every single day in order to have in your back pocket anytime that you're in the world of crypto. There's lessons on trading and fundamental analysis, technical analysis, teaching you about what crypto is in general. I mean, everything that you might need in order to kind of, grow or level up as a crypto investor is available for you over in the Crypto Playbook, and it's completely free. I'm not charging you $1 for it. I'm not charging you 1 cent for it. It's going to be completely free, and the link will be down below. If you sign up today, I'll send you a few early modules, and then you can see everything else when it comes out in just 3 days, okay? So check out that link down below. Don't forget to go download it. So Let's go over some of our favorite cryptos. We're going to look at ETH. We're going to look at XRP, XLM, HBAR, Salana, Sweet, Kaspa, and maybe a couple more. Okay, so let's kind of dive into this. So starting off with Ethereum, which is of course the leader of the altcoin market, you can see exactly what I've been talking about starting to play out. So over the last couple of weeks, I told you what we needed to see from ETH was it needed to break through this little decision-making zone. Once it did that, the next major step would be breaking the golden zone. So it was like two main steps. Step number one, step number two. And I told you, if it can do those two things, it's going to open up the door for a move back up towards this previous high, right around $4,100. The second move that it would open up would be up towards $5,500. The third move it would open up is towards $8,000. And what you can see is that Ethereum's price has now pushed up through step number one and step number two, and it has now started making the move I told you. It's now making that move back up towards $4,100. Now, is it going to go straight up to it? I'm not sure. The closer you get to it, the more risky it becomes. I think a lot of these lizard people, right, these manipulative lizard people who lick their eyeballs, I think they know that many people are looking for ETH's price to make the move up towards this level. So it wouldn't shock me at all if we do see a little bit of a pullback prior to it getting there, because a lot of people are going to go long on big leverage right now, and you can kind of see that playing out already, right? Like if you go to liquidation map for ETH, you can see it. A lot of people are opening up gigantic long trades right now, billions of dollars in liquidations below us. And so I'm not going to go ahead and say it's going to make the move straight up to it. It might take a little bit of time, but I do believe that the door is open, and this is practically the move that we've been talking about. ETH has been following exactly what we've been expecting, step by step by step. And so again, even if it does pull back, and even if it does start to get choppy and crazy as a result of people going crazy on big trades, and the fact that people are, of course, starting to really come back and look up ETH, right? I mean, again, look, like all these new retail investors, they might get nuked on, right? They might start to cause a lot of volatility. They might kind of get wrecked a little bit here. So it might get a little bit crazy here, but again, I do think that the door is open to $4,100. I have no reason to believe ETH's not going to hit that at some point. And so because of that, ETH is looking very good in the midterm and the long term. Of course, in the short term, things do look a little bit sketchy, a little bit scary. You look at ETH's 4-hour RSI, it is trending downwards. There is bearish divergence there. You look at the 4-hour Bollinger Bands, we are still extended on the top side there. We're also extended on the top side on the daily Bollinger Bands. And all of that simply just means that things are getting a little bit more risky here in the short term. So you just need to be careful. Personally, I am taking a little bit of profit off the table. I don't think it's a good idea to be opening up any huge leverage long trades on ETH right now. I personally would not be joining this crowd of opening up big 100x, 500x leverage long trades, because again, now that people are coming back, I think things are going to start getting a little bit more volatile, and it's probably going to start to liquidate a good bit of people, okay? So just be very careful. Take a little bit of profits off if you are up. I think that's a great idea. It's always great practice. That's what I'm doing, and let this puppy play out. And if you're really set on buying it, like you really want to buy ETH, option number one is you just buy it right now and hope for the best, which is never really a great option, but it's always a valid option if you have a long enough time horizon. But the second option would be just to let this puppy pull back. At some point, I believe it's going to pull back, and at that point, it should be a much better purchase, right? You should have been buying here. I think that was the smart play, but hindsight's 2020. The next thing that I would do, let it cool down. ETH RSI, I mean, it's extremely overbought. It's very high. So I do think it'll cool down at some point, and that's probably a better time to enter without having to take on as much bottom side risk, right? And so that's kind of where I am with ETH, but at the end of the day, it looks fantastic. This has opened up the door for the altcoin market to really give us these gains that we've been seeing recently. So of course, a lot of credit to ETH. ETH's not one of my favorite cryptos on earth, but it has opened up the door for that liquidity to really funnel into these altcoins. So obviously, I am happy about it. So overall, that's where we are with ETH. The picture's still the same. Long term, good. Short term, a little bit risky. And it does align perfectly with what we are seeing from our Google Trends. Moving on. So the next one is XRP, and XRP is in a very similar situation. It's just moving a bit better. So I told you all for a very long time, for months basically. I said, listen, this is what's happening for XRP. Get on board or don't. What I said was simply, XRP is in a descending channel. I believe that XRP is going to continue upwards. Once XRP can break out of this descending channel and clear the golden zone, the door opens up for a move back up to $3.38. The next stop would be $4.13. The next stop would be $5.34. And well, what do you know? XRP's price breaks up through the descending channel, breaks above it, makes the move, clears the previous high. Here we go. Clears the previous high, breaks through the golden zone. It takes a little bit of chop, right? It wasn't an easy move, but it breaks through the golden zone, absolutely sends it back up towards that previous high, exactly as we figured it would. Now, it is slowing down just a little bit over the last 4 or 5 days, and that is simply just because it's now at a massive point of bearish liquidity. You're going to see a lot of people taking profits right here, as they should. I mean, we're seeing XRP at a new regional high, higher than it was back in the beginning of 2025. So I don't blame people at all for taking profits right here. But XRP's price is handling and managing that very well. And even if XRP does sort of pull back a little bit, I don't think that pullback is going to be super long. I think it'll be rather short-lived. And I think XRP still is in pursuit of some of these higher levels. It wouldn't shock me at all if if XRP, sorry, does pull up to, $4.13 or higher. I would say there's like a 60-70% chance that happens. And so in the short term, things may get a little bit weird, right? If we go look at XRP's Google Trends, you can see, again, it's sent for the last bit. And if we look at the 30 days, it is kind of cooled down a little bit, but it is still rather elevated. And so because of that, I'm a little bit less concerned of some sort of big pullback or some major pullback, but it's not exempt from it, right? If we go look at its liquidations, you can kind of see the same picture. The top side liquidations are a bit better, but there are still just a ton of liquidations to the bottom side. And so XRP is one of those ones where the long term looks just as good as ETH, in my opinion. The short term looks a little bit less risky. A little bit less risky because XRP is a bit ahead of ETH, right? It's already got this bit of a cool down. It's already started to see its lookups and its Google searches pull back a little bit, right? And so I actually do think XRP is in a really good spot to be able to continue to make this move over time. Whether it looks like this, whether it looks like this, whether it looks like this, I don't know. I'm just saying that I do believe this move upwards can very easily continue. It just may take a bit of cooling down, especially because of what we are seeing from its RSI and stuff like that. So overall, XRP is looking good. I'm very happy with it. And I think XRP is the leading altcoin these days. I think it's the one that's kind of taken a lot of control of the market. People look at it, people like it. It has one of the biggest communities I've ever seen before. And so the fact that it's holding up well is a very good sign for the rest of the altcoin market. And this should make a lot of money for altcoin investors that we will then find flowing itself through some of these other cryptos, especially like an XLM, right? And so with that in mind, that's XRP. Short term looking a little risky, not super risky, but a little risky. Long term still looking very good in my opinion. I think a move between $4.13 to $5.34 makes a ton of sense to me. I don't really see a reason as to why that can't happen throughout this year, right? Like, again, next couple weeks, maybe, sure, we pull back, maybe, I don't know. But I do think that to move up here does make a lot of sense. So I don't see a reason as to why not. Okay, moving on. Looking at Salana. So Salana is still in this decision-making moment, and I've told you all very clearly exactly what you need to be watching right now, right? So what are we watching for Salana? We're watching what happens here at $191. What happened for Solana's price is that it was, of course, stuck in the descending channel, as you can see here. It had this move right here. We had the high, we had the high, we had the low, we had the higher low. It created a little bit of like this descending structure, and I've told you, be on the lookout for the break of this line. Once Salana breaks these two descending line based on 2 precision points, guys, I'm telling you, this is just what Salana does. I've been looking at Solana's price every single day for the last 4.5 years straight now, roughly. Or maybe, 4.5 years. And it's just what it does. It'll put in a high, it'll put in another high, it'll put in a low, it'll put in a higher low, it'll try to break it, and then it's going to try to just make a run. That's just what Salana has always done. And that's exactly what's happening. What you can see is that Solana's trying to make that run right now. It came back, nearly touched that golden zone, just barely missed it, but is making this move upwards, and it has now officially set a higher high from this previous high. So what does that mean? It means we have a higher low, it means we have a higher high. This could very easily be Solana starting to establish a new uptrend, which could push it back up towards $220 or $230. The biggest test for Salana right now is whether or not it can break above 191 and stay above it. As you can see, if we go ahead and draw on our golden zone, this is the golden zone for it. You can see my settings here. There you go. You can see my settings, fib levels based on log scale, and then of course I have my chart on logarithmic as well. And what you can see is this is the Fibonacci golden zone. Solana has a history of battling at this golden zone. And if Solana can break through this golden zone, I still stand on the idea that Solana very, very easily could start to try to make one of those Solana moves up towards not only just $296, but possibly as high as $403. Now, one thing to consider is that Solana's supply has changed over the last few years, and so it is going to be harder for Solana to push up to say $400 now than it would have been back here, but it doesn't matter, okay? At the end of the day, Salana is one of those ones that can just make moves happen, especially with the ecosystem that it has, especially with the community that it has. And so if you're a Salana holder, I actually think that Solana is still in a decent position. I wouldn't say that this is a terrible time to buy. It's not a good time to buy. It's not a terrible time to buy, though. And it very well could start to open up that door for that move up towards, $400, $300. It's just going to be a battle, okay? And so I wouldn't be going all in on Solana right now. There are still risks involved, of course. As I mentioned before, we are now seeing the crowd starting starting to pick up on Solana. People are starting to come back, which is going to bring some volatility that could get a little bit freaky, could get a little bit weird, and all of those things could be an attempt to liquidate people. On the 30-day, a ton of liquidations below us, not many ahead of us. So the short term for Solana is risky as it is approaching this massive level of resistance. We could get that rejection at any given point, but the truth is we are still in a position where if Solana can start to make this move upwards, start breaking through this golden zone, break above say 232 in the long term, I think the move up towards $400 is very possible, bringing up a lot of those Solana cryptos, right? Your Radiums, your Jupes, all of them, even your pumps, right? I think all of that's possible. So Solana's in a bit of a better spot than many cryptos, I would say, because it does still have more upside potential in my opinion, especially after this big correction that we've seen. I mean, look at the weekly, right? Look at that. I mean, look how small, look how low this got to. We absolutely mooned up here, and then it has really pulled back. And the cool part is that Solana's actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's yeah, it's breaking out there as well. That weekly RSI is breaking out as well, which could just open up the door for the macro move. And so, yeah, all in all, I think Solana looks pretty good. And I think Solana ecosystemic tokens could be a good, good grab right now if you want to kind of get ahead and front run that move. I think, a little Jupe, a little Radium, stuff like that would probably not be a terrible idea if Solana can continue to make this move. So, just be watching 191. If Solana can break into this, it does start to open up the door for that move upwards, okay? Moving on. Looking at SUI. We all like SUI. So, SUI is a little bit ahead of Solana in the sense that it is, of course, now starting to break into this golden zone, and it is struggling a little bit. What I told you all in the last video is, listen, SUI had this descending level of support, or this descending level of resistance, sorry. As you can see, boom, and I told you, all you need to watch for SUI right now is whether or not it can break above this line, this descending line right here, then break above this golden box. This is the golden Fibonacci zone. We talk about it a million times here. And what you can see is that that's exactly what SUI's trying to do. It's broken above the descending level, and what's it doing? It's back testing. Our good old friend Bob T, breakout, back test. And that's exactly what SUI's trying to do. Breakout, back test. And so what you're looking at if you're a SUI holder is very, very closely $4.28. If SUI can break above $4.28, it will now have officially broken through the Fibonacci golden zone, and that opens up a door for SUI's price to push up towards $7.30 or possibly as high as $10.80. And so, of course, right now, this is like a decision-making moment for SUI. It sat right above one of its previous massive levels of resistance, and it sat right below another one. So you have this resistance, and now this previous point of resistance now turned into support. And the question for SUI is, does it break through the resistance, or does it stay above the support, or does it lose the support and get rejected by this resistance? That's the decision that SUI's making. I think it's more likely that it holds the support and tries to continue upwards over this resistance zone. I think there's probably like a 70% chance, but there is still that 30% possibility that SUI's price does pull back here. And so the short term is kind of risky. I wouldn't say very risky. I would say just kind of risky. There are risks involved, right? If we do look at it, SUI's RSI did get overbought, not by very much, but it did. And if you go look at, if you go look at his liquidation maps, you can kind of see the picture as well, right? There are still a lot more liquidations to the downside than the upside, just a couple $100 million, so it's not a ton, but it is all good enough to say there's a little bit of risk in the short term, but I would say in the long term, SUI is looking very good, and it's waking up, and it's making it very clear that this was not just a flash in the pan. This was not just a flash moment for SUI. No, SUI is here, and it's here to stay, and I think that it's going to be another one that does push up to, $10 plus, $15 plus at some point. The question is just whether or not that's now, right? Is the altcoin market ready to make this move right now in July, which would be odd? Or does the altcoin market continue pumping? Does ETH pump a little bit more, say into August, and then it takes off for August and September, and then Q3, Q4, we go for the run? That's the question that I have. I think that's the question most of us have. I think alts will get the run that they're looking for. The question is just, is that right now or not? I don't know. And the same applies to SUI. Does it break above this and just go for it now? Or does it maybe take a little bit of time? Does it maybe pull back a little bit and then try to make that move? That's the question we all have. I think that's the biggest question you should be asking. Now, moving on. XLM, very similar situation. And you're going to notice I'm going to start speeding this up now because I'm going to start saying the same thing over and over and over again. XLM, its price broke through the descending channel. We were doing purchases on XLM consistently every single time it hit this green box. Well, what do you know? All of those purchases that we made back here are up anywhere from 50 to over 100% now. And it's absolutely smashing. But the goal remains the same. XLM's price has broken through the descending channel and pushed up to the Fibonacci golden zone. So what needs to happen now? It needs to break the Fibonacci golden zone. If it does that, the door then opens happens in the long term for XLM's price to push up towards 85 cents or $1.26. And you can see that battle happening. If you zoom into the Fibonacci golden zone, XLM is blatantly struggling to break this level. Every time it tries to go above it, it immediately gets rejected. And what that says is that this is for sure the level we need to be watching, and it sits right around 49.5 cents, which is a little bit below that 50% psychological threshold. So let's just call it 50 cents. If XLM can break above 50 cents even for 2 days, it opens up the door for a move up another 50 to 100%. If XLM's price is unable to break above this, it would not shock me in the slightest if XLM's price comes back down to say 30, 35 cents, and then starts trying to make that corrective move over the next couple weeks or months, okay? So if you're an XLM holder, it's currently sat at resistance. We are, of course, seeing this bad boy looking pretty decent. Like if we do this, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here, right? It is picking up a ton. A lot of people are looking up XLM. If you go look at its liquidations, we're in a very similar situation with XLM that we are with everything else, basically, where there's a ton of liquidations to the downside. So in the short term, XLM is a risk. It has a major level of resistance above it and a lot of people talking about it. It's the perfect combination for these eyeball licking lizard people to push this price back down to start liquidating people. So what you need to be watching is whether or not XLM's price can break above this 50% threshold and open up that door, or if it's going to need to come back down for a couple weeks / a month or two and then start to open the door for the long-term move back towards the last 3, 4, 5 months of this year. That's the question, right? And the end of Q3, the beginning of Q4, can we see XLM move, or again, is it just ready to go now? That's what you're watching. And the way you decide that is what happens here at 50 cents. Okay. Moving on. HBAR, similar situation. Broke through the descending channel. We purchased back here. Currently the Fibonacci golden zone. What does HBAR need to do? It needs to break above 31.5 cents. That's the top side of the golden zone. If it's capable of doing that, it opens up the door up towards 55 cents. It opens up the door towards 83 cents, which means, of course, HBAR could still have 91 to 195% gains in front of it. It just needs to break 31.5 cents. That's the key level to be watching. That's the important level to be looking at right now. We are seeing a little bit of bearish divergence, which isn't a great sign. It does mean that HBAR is struggling a little bit at this resistance zone. So again, just like everything else, the short term is a little bit risky. The long term is a pretty damn positive in my opinion. So I am in a pretty good spot with that one. Last but not least, we're going to look at Kaspa because this picture is still very similar, just a little bit different finally. But what we can see is that Kaspa's price was sort of battling between two Fibonacci golden zones, but it's now pushed up into the top side of the top one, which is a great thing. So for Kaspa, what are you looking for? You're looking for a break of 11.2 cents. If it can break 11.2 cents, it opens up the door for a move up towards 16 cents. It opens up the door for a move up to 21 cents, which is some beautiful gains from here. I mean, we're talking, 50 to 100% gains still possible for Kaspa if it can break above 11.1 cents. So be watching this closely. That's where the battle is. So I'm not going to continue on because I'm going to be honest with you, most cryptos are doing the same exact thing right now. The vast majority of cryptos are seeing most of their indicators a little bit overbought. They're a little bit too dang high right now. A lot of retail investors are starting to come back, which is a good thing for the long term. It's a scary thing for the short term. And you're seeing many of these cryptos, many of them at major resistance points that makes it dangerous that in the short term, they could go down. But in the long term, I think they'll end up breaking them and opening up the door to the upside. So we're in a massive decision-making moment here for the crypto market, especially for things like ETH, especially for things like XRP. And the question is, how does this play out? I'll be here updating you every step of the way while we do play it out. But in the meantime, guys, don't forget, while I am updating you on all of these cryptos on YouTube every day, I also post a ton of content over on Instagram. It's TylerHillYT_. It is going to be linked down below. And I took the weekend off. I was out of town, but every day I do try to update you on all of the major ones we talk about here on the channel: Ethereum, Bitcoin, Doge, Ethereum Classic, XRP, HBAR, and many more. It's all available for you down below. And guys, if you are trading smaller cryptos in this, say you're in the top 50, top 100, top 150, don't forget you can go ahead and check out dflow.com. I am going to link that down below. It's a super exchange which combines centralized and decentralized exchanges into one, which then allows you to trade on, like, say, meme coins and microcaps at the best prices you can find and one of the most risk-free ways that you can. It's a fantastic super exchange. They have high risk, they have futures, they have a wallet for you to actually just store all of your cryptos in right there and self-custody, which is great. There's just an investing where you can go in and you can go and buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all your major ones in the same place. I mean, you can do every form of crypto investing in one place in a safe way. So to go check the link out down below if that does interest you. And guys, do not forget to just watch this very closely, because what we're seeing right now from the top 10, from these major cryptos, is going to decide, okay, are we going to see an altcoin season? And I always say quote unquote altcoin season because I think that's kind of a myth in many capacities. I'll talk about that later on. But are we going to see an altcoin season? And if so, does that happen now or does it happen towards the end of the year? I think those are all of the decisions that are being made right now from the crypto market. And I'll be honest with you guys, things are looking good for altcoin investors. I think our odds and our chances of seeing some beautiful gains, even more from here, are going up more and more and more. And so if you have been excited about that, let us know in the comments down below and let us know exactly what you're doing. And while you are down there, do not forget one last time to go check out BTC, see if that interests you, and go download the Crypto Playbook. If you do, of course, want a free resource, there's now officially less than 3 days left. So go check that out. And I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.